Five, four, three, two, one.
I'm from a place where the girls are always looking pretty. You might have heard of us, we call it Shy City. We build champions here who define gritty. We don't do excuses, we don't do pity. Rose is coming back stronger, that's a guarantee. Cutler's coming back too, he's beastly. Throwing it to Marshall, the title's ours easily. Blackhawks are winning titles, trophy looking massive. Don't forget about the Cubs, Sox, Crosstown Classic. With so much greatness, we gotta show bravado. You got your boys Ambro and Mike Mercado.
Welcome in, everybody, to this edition of the Chicago Beat. It is Friday, April 12th, 2013, and we got a lot to get into today. You can follow us everywhere in the universe. We're on Twitter at the Chicago Beat. We're on Facebook at the Chicago Beat. And, of course, the beautiful DaChicagBeat.yolasite.com, the greatest website in all of the world. So last night, the Bulls, what else can you say? What can you say about a team that doesn't have its best superstar, has hurt superstars, has a bunch of quote-unquote effort players, and another big winning streak? 13 games for Miami. Earlier on this season, they beat the 27-game streak of Miami. Amazing stuff. You have the White Sox getting swept out of Washington. As good as the White Sox are or could be, Washington's on a different level. And that's just what it is. The Cubs give up a big lead early in the game, can't come back, try to scratch and claw, and you're not going to beat the defending champions, the San Francisco Giants, that way. You're not. They have another 3 games left at Wrigley. You kind of hope that they're able to turn around. And later on today, a great game, the rivalry, almost for the last time, at least in the Western Conference, you have Detroit versus Chicago, primetime tonight, Friday, April 12th. Should be a good one. We got a lot to get into today, guys, only on the Chicago Beat.
You know I like my chicken fried, cold beer on a Friday night, a pair of jeans that fit just right, and the radio up. I like to see the sunrise, see the love in my woman's eyes, feel the touch of a precious child, know a mother's love.
You've been looking for that thing to really spice up your life. You're looking for that change? Visit beatonair.com. That's the Illinois Center for Broadcasting, guys. It has 2 beautiful campus locations for your convenience. One downtown and one in the suburbs in Lombard. If you're interested in news, if you're interested in politics, sports, music, production, camera work, it doesn't matter. They offer it all. That's beatonair.com or dial 630-916-1700 and schedule a campus visit today. So speaking of visiting, the New York Knicks come to Chicago, the second team this season with a big winning streak against a hurt team. And all you see is the Bulls with effort, and defense. Key defensive moments. You have guys like Jimmy Butler stepping up. It's been huge. It's been huge. And I posed the question out to you guys on Twitter. Do you care if Derek comes back this season at all to begin with? Does it really make a difference at this point? You're looking at this team, and it almost seems like this team doesn't care anymore. It doesn't care about the superstars it doesn't have. It only cares about the superstars, or, quote-unquote superstars, it has on the team right now. You have a great effort from Jimmy Butler again. Defensive-minded, just seems to be at the right place at the right time on the court, always. It always seems like he's always at the right spot. You have good Nate. There's times where you're going to have bad Nate Robinson. It just happens. That's the way his game is. He'll frustrate you. He'll turn your hair gray. He'll make you pull it all out. Well, at the same time, he'll do what he did against the Knicks and carry your team. Be an offensive spark that we haven't had in Chicago since maybe Ben Gordon. Just that will, almost that cat burglar, cold-blooded mentality of, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to score. And after that win, the biggest thing that I guess I took away from it, or I put onto you guys, is how far can this team really go? Right now, you're in the 5th seed. You would play the Brooklyn Nets. And then if you won that series, you would play the winner of the Miami Heat versus Milwaukee Bucks series. Or, of course, just the Miami Heat at that point. How far can this team go? Because you look around the rest of the playoffs, the New York Knicks playing the Boston Celtics, that's a toss-up because the Bulls have swept the Knicks this season. 4 straight games. Beat them. I think they've taken the 8 out of the last 9, Secret Producer Man. So we've had the discussion between me and Secret Producer Man, between us on Facebook and on Twitter. How far can this team really go? What is a realistic goal for this team? Because I sit here and I believe that you see teams like Oklahoma City and San Antonio and Memphis in the Western Conference, and you see teams like Miami. And to me, the other 2 teams would be like a Boston and Chicago. Teams that have been there, teams that are defensive-minded, that are that always show up to play. I mean, they'll show up to play depending on the caliber of opponent. If you're a bad team, they're going to match your effort. But if you're a great team, they'll match that great effort too. Now, can they do that win 4 games off of that again in a series? That's one totally different thing. But it all just kind of comes back. All comes back to, what if Derek actually played this season? How good could they be? And I think that's the question that's going to bother a lot of Bulls fans however the season ends, whether it's in the conference finals, in the second round, or losing the first round. What this season could have been, not just with Derek, but the rest of the team if they were healthy. And then that's just, unfortunately, that's been the Bulls' theme over the last 2.5 years now, is they were never quite healthy enough. And this team may never be the same again. With guys like Jimmy Butler who've emerged, there's a chance that Luol Deng could be expendable now throughout this offseason. Carlos Boozer might be expendable. So you're seeing a lot of change. You don't know what you're going to do with Marcus Teague yet. You have a guy in Europe in Nikolai Mirotic. You have a draft pick from the Bobcats. This team is going to be completely different, guys. So what I'm taking apart from this season just the most stuff is they're streak killers and they're effort guys who are willing to give up all the energy they need to win a game. Very good stuff. We'll be back on the Chicago Beat. For the fastest and most convenient way to get your shipping needs done, visit InFlightExpress.com. Guys, with the best professionals and equipment, it is the best way to send any shipment, whatever it is, cross-country, cross-state, great. InFlightExpress.com delivers the Chicago Beat. So Cubs and Giants just underway at Wrigley. You know, last night I'm watching both the Nationals versus Sox and Cubs versus Giants. And, you know, the one thing you really see from these two teams is not a lot of things are going to go their way this year. The White Sox last season were fortunate to have a lot of things go their direction. They were fortunate to have a division play out the way it did. Detroit have a slow start. Detroit not figure out his bullpen. The rest of the division kind of was terrible. This season, not so much though. This season, they're gonna have to play perfect baseball. I think both sides. I mean, especially on the Cubs side, they almost need to play fantastic baseball in order to make any type of serious run. But when it comes to the White Sox, you can't expect to play half-ass baseball, not be able to hold leads, not be able to run the bases correctly, not be able to field the ball the right way if you're playing a team like Washington. I mean, the White Sox have a chance to make some real noise in this postseason. And you're under 500 right now. You're giving away games to Washington. Mind you, Washington's a hell of a team. The White Sox could have won a couple of those games. The White Sox should not have been swept out. And when you're a team like the Chicago Cubs, you can't give away games. You can't. If you have the San Francisco Giants who play ugly baseball on the ropes, you got to kill them. You got to end it. And that's not what they've done. They haven't been able to. They haven't been able to do that all season. That's why I don't know if they're going to actually be able to win a lot of games this season if you're the north side. And if you're on the south side, I told you, the ceiling's very high, but the floor is really low for this team. I mean, it is not perfect for this team. They can have a really bad season. They cannot, you got guys like Gavin Floyd who haven't won a game yet. You're relying on guys like Jay Peavy to carry you when you don't know how his condition will be, how long he's going to last. You can't give up games. And that's a problem. I guess that's been the description of these two baseball teams for so many years now is giving up games. Look at some of the best teams in baseball. Texas, San Francisco, St. Louis. They don't give you games. They make you work at every at-bat. They make you work every pitch, and they're going to be in every game. They'll scratch and claw and make sure they're in everything. You cannot be 11 games, 12 games back by July. You can't. You can't. And it looks like that's what's heading with these two teams. Mind you, it's really early. It's only April 12th. And I want to hear your input. As of right now, from what you've seen on these two sports teams, from the Chicago Cubs on the north side and the Chicago White Sox on the south side, how do you feel? Where do you see them going? What should they do? Let us know at The Chicago Beat on Twitter, at The Chicago Beat on Facebook, thechicagobeat.yolasite.com. I want to hear from you guys. Coming up next, the rivalry renewed for the last time in the Western Conference. It's Blackhawks Detroit coming up on The Chicago Beat. Twitter at The Chicago Beat. We're on Facebook at The Chicago Beat. And if you're interested in everything Chicago, food, entertainment, music, theater, sports, gaming, it doesn't matter. Visit thechicagobeat.yolasite.com. It is everything Chicago with a youthful knowledge twist to it. It's awesome, guys. So me and Secret Producer Man were just talking about the Greinke Quinton incident yesterday. The Dodgers and the San Diego Padres getting into a scuffle. Zach Greinke ended up breaking his collarbone, going to be out 6 to 8 weeks. It's interesting. People want to say that Quinton should be suspended as long as Greinke is out. That's not baseball. First of all, you look at Greinke. Greinke was asking to get his ass whooped. And that's just fact. It's a 3-2 pitch, 3-2 count, in bottom of the ninth, man on second, I believe. He wasn't deliberately trying to hit them. First of all, let's be fair about this. Quinton has always been known as a diver. He likes to get hit by the ball. He did it when he was with the White Sox. He did it with Arizona. He's doing it with the Padres. It's always what he's always done. Okay, and Greinke has hit him a lot when they were both playing for Kansas City and Chicago. But you can't tell me that it was purpose. But at the same time, Greinke had no business getting away from the mound, looking him down, and not, tipping his cap, not, whatever it is. Now, it's one thing if you're defending yourself. Like, you did, you said, hey, take your base. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. Look at the count, whatever. And he still comes at you. But you didn't do it for that moment. So I think, it's one of those unwritten rules, one of those stupid unwritten rules about baseball. But, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think he'll only get like a 10-game suspension, maybe a 7-game suspension. But tonight, speaking of heated rivalries and hard hitting, you got Detroit versus Chicago. Chicago is still the best team in the Western Conference, clinched up a playoff spot. You're starting to see now a lot of the moves that the Blackhawks are doing is trying to change up lineups, trying to see what they could play off, what different lines they could play in the playoffs. Because that's what it's come down to. This team already realizes they're in the playoffs, what the big goal is. They don't need to win the President's Cup. They don't need to have the best record in the league. They don't need to have the second best record in the league. They need to be healthy and ready to go in 2 weeks when the playoffs start. That's what they need to do. And this team has done that. This team has starting to get healthy again. You got Patrick Sharp coming back. You got Marian Hossa come back. Your main guys are still all there. They're all having great seasons. Your biggest concern right now, if you want to call it a concern, which we were talking yesterday on the Chicago Beat, is your goalie situation. But you're talking about having too many goalies. That's like having too many pitchers. That's one of my friends said on Facebook, Adam Mergitz. It's a true point. You can never have too many pitchers. Just like you can't have too many goalies. Yeah, you would like theoretically to walk into the playoffs with a goalie is gonna stand, be on his head and is gonna get you over. But having two quality goalies is not a bad thing. And you have your decisions now. Ray Emery's only 2 years older than Corey Crawford, and we've seen what both men can do. Now we got to see what Ray Emery does against the better teams, because Crawford, who's going to have goal tonight against Detroit, typically plays against the better teams in the conference. So I'm telling you guys right now, that's what you guys got to look out for. But it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Just trust me when I tell you guys, and watch the Blackhawks. Everything is going good for these guys. If they stay healthy, everything will be fine. We hope you guys enjoyed this week of the Chicago Beat. As always, for Secret Producer Man, I'm Mac Mercado. I hope you guys all have a beautiful Saturday and Sunday. Don't forget the Masters are on. It is day 2. They're going to be on ESPN today and then CBS this weekend. Like I told you, I got Tiger Woods. It's the easy pick to go with. If you guys got the field, I want to hear from you guys. We're everywhere in the universe at The Chicago Beat on Twitter, at The Chicago Beat on Facebook, DaChicagBeat.yolasite.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Please have a safe, enjoyable weekend. I will see you on Monday. Later, guys.